Hello, welcome back everyone. It is now September 12th of 2022. Now, we are just days away from the release date of Star Wars Andor, and then after that we have, of course, Tales of the Jedi arriving in October. Now, unfortunately, for those of you that have been waiting for the Bad Batch Season 2, that has been delayed all the way until January 4th, I believe it was, of 2023. So you got a couple of months more to go for that. It really isn't all that far off, to be honest. But looking at where we are now, alright, The Mandalorian Season 3 may or may not be getting a delay based on some of the additional filming that has been taking place behind the scenes in order to elongate the franchise, to the actual series per se. Now, it's unclear if they're going to add in another episode or if they are just making each episode longer with the additional filming that's being done. You guys may have realized that at D23 a couple days ago when the trailer or the teaser dropped for Mando Season 3, it only said coming 2023. It did not say February, which could very well be a telltale that they are planning or pre-planning a kind of delay that might be by a couple of weeks, maybe even a month at max. Now, moving on top of all of this, what's really exciting has a lot to do with the fact that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are really crafting something very special for the fans. And that, of course, is going to be announced at Star Wars Celebration next year. So like I said, time and time again, that Celebration of 23 is going to be the real deal. That's going to be where you're going to be getting all the new Star Wars show announcements, as well as the investor call in, I believe, the fourth quarter or the third quarter. It's going to be another way for them to announce new shows next year as well. So, next year is going to be a lot of announcing, it's going to be a lot of planning out the roadmap and what the executives are up to. That brings us, however, to Kathleen Kennedy and where that stands now. Now, with many new Star Wars TV shows currently in development by Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, they are getting ready to begin work on The Mandalorian Season 4. Now, they will bring in a big story for Luke Skywalker in that season that fans will be surprised by. However, it's noted that Kathleen Kennedy is creating a plan to leave Lucasfilm prematurely before Disney executives fire her before her contract ends. Now, the end game by Kathleen Kennedy is to quit Lucasfilm sometime in 2023 and move to her new production company, Starlight Productions, that is planned to operate in 2025. That will hire many new, of course, current Lucasfilm employees and ex-Lucasfilm employees. Now, this new plan of hers, however, is said to be more involved than just that, as we discussed before in the past, and that there is a deeper reason why Kathleen Kennedy is leaving the company very soon. Now, it's described that Kathleen Kennedy has been having extensive creative issues with Favreau over the Acolyte series and his overall direction of The Mandalorian and its surrounding spin-offs. The job of being president has been taking a toll on her, and it is why she has been showing her face less and less over the past 2 years plus, since she lost creative power in early 2020. One of the big reasons that she is trying to leave prematurely, apart from Disney trying to fire her soon, is that she has lost more power over the Acolyte series, and just about half of the show is now in her hands. In his hands, I should say. So let me just pause here quickly for a second. Given that Favreau now has half of the Acolyte series in his hands over hers, it really just goes to show you that the Acolyte may just stand a chance. It might just stand a chance. I'm still, kind of leaning on the edge that this might be a big disappointment for the fans. I'm not trying to be pessimistic or anything like that over a show that we have yet to have seen any shred of footage, by the way, over. But at the same exact time, we gotta remember who is involved. Leslie Headland is the main writer of the series, and she herself openly stated that she is not really a Star Wars fan. This is all new to her. She took a little bit of her time to watch some of the prequels here and there, but not all the way through, just to get an understanding of what it would be like before the prequel trilogy era, which, of course, is going to be the High Republic. And that worries me, the fact that you have another creator openly stating that you have never watched Star Wars thoroughly. We've seen this with Rupert Friend, the guy who plays the Grand Inquisitor. He said that himself too, that he decided to never watch, the Star Wars animated series to get an idea of the Grand Inquisitor. He himself said that. And then you have another prime example of Joby Harold, the writer of Kenobi, saying very similar things. This seems to be a common trend, that with a lot of things that Kathleen Kennedy has put out there, a lot of the writers just don't know what they're doing. Now, granted, I think that Gareth Edwards did a fantastic job with Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. I think that was an exception. But when you look at people like JJ and Rian Johnson, they didn't really have a full-fledged plan for the sequels, right? So moving on to the next thing here that's even all the more involved, alright? So, however, since Favreau was given creative rights over the series, the second half of the show took a drastic turn, as it is now going to be mainly driven by George's vision of Star Wars and its philosophy in order to prevent it from being a complete failure. Executives are still worried about the show, and there is only so much Favreau can do at once. Kennedy is described to have had a big argument with Bob Chapek, the Disney CEO, over his decision to allow Favreau to come on board, and that this is the main reason why she wants to leave by 2023 instead of 24 when her contract ends in the long run. So there's a lot to the main reason as to why she's pre-planning herself stepping down from Lucasfilm and moving on to other things. And a lot of it is rooted to the fact that Favreau is getting a big promotion every couple of months, allowing him to get more creative power, and he already has a lot of creative power. I mean, he's calling the shots on almost everything when you think about it. The video games, the lore, the books, the shows, and everything else in the pipeline. So, what better way for her to leave and make her own company that she has been developing for the past year and a half? We've been talking about this, on and off for a while now, and it is moving along. She wants to get this thing up and running by 2025, but before then, you gotta spend a couple years kind of ramping things up, hiring new creators to come on board, hiring people to handle the business end. I mean, it takes a long time to get things up and running. So, that brings us to what's going on right now with Kathleen Kennedy. Well, besides the Acolyte, Skeleton Crew is going along smoothly. They are entering into post-production already as we speak. They are also planning additional filming, just like with The Mandalorian Season 3. They're thinking about doing this by the end of the fall. This way they can actually add more to the story. This seems to be another common trend, is that a lot of the shows are getting additional filming, not necessarily reshoots, but additional filming to enhance the story based on what they are editing at the time, and they can figure out ways to extend certain scenes. Now, the thing about Kathleen Kennedy, that's another show that I think a lot of fans are skeptical over, is Skeleton Crew. Now, we got a little glimpse of this at D23, showing us Jude Law in a behind-the-scenes photo, where you see a couple of the Jedi Padawans behind his back, and you see himself in that very strange-looking costume, which makes you wonder, is he a leader of these Padawans? Who is he, right? We don't really know too much. One thing that we do know is that Jude Law completely hinted at the fact that legacy characters will be coming in the Skeleton Crew series, and this attaches to the leak that we went over a couple of days ago, that Kathleen is, in fact, going to be dragging in well-known characters and changing them. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.